Heyo everybody, Haku here with my live reaction for Boku no Hero Academia chapters 407 onward, and I'm extremely excited because we have been getting into some conclusive stuff. The past two read-throughs have had some incredible chapters, and again, we're just continuing on with more of this stuff. Depending on how many chapters I get to read this time around, we could, we could maybe get pretty close to catching up next read through. So we'll have this week, we'll have next read through, and then I really need to ask you, when we catch up, what do you want me to do with these videos? Do you want me to wait and do reactions to the official translation? Do you want me to do what I do with One Piece, where I will react to the scans and then post that for patrons and members, and then make it public when the official comes out so that I don't spoil anybody waiting for the official? Or do you want me to wait a couple weeks between each video? And because I don't know how I can do that if we're about to end. I don't know how close we are to ending. Do you want me to wait like 3 or 4 weeks between each video so I can do like 3 or 4 chapters at a time? What do you think is the best way to do it? Wait a bit so I can do 3 or 4 at a time, do scans and post it early for patrons and members, or do the official when the official comes out? Those are, I guess, kind of the 3 options. If there's anything else you want to suggest, I'm very open to it. You might have better ideas than me. But yeah, with that said, let's just get into reading. Yeah, let's just get into reading. So we were having, Shigaraki versus Izuku, but there are a lot of other things that still need to go on before I think we can finish that main fight out. We've still got to do the Kurogiri stuff. I feel like what we're maybe going to focus on is finishing out, since the next thing we were focusing on was Benjamin Button All for One. So we could cut away from that, but I think we might focus on Bakugo finishing off Benjamin Button All for One. Because if Bakugo is like the most popular character in the series, Bakugo is kind of, to me, I think Izuku's the most developed character in the series, probably, or the most focused, at least. He's the character with the most focus as the main character. I would argue that Endeavor has probably the second most focus, Shigaraki probably the third most. But Bakugo's up there, and Bakugo has arguably had the most development, in addition to being the most popular. So to have All for One, the original body, the Benjamin Button All for One, who has already fought Endeavor, who's a massive character in the series, already fought All Might, a massive character in the series, to have that be Bakugo's final battle is fitting, I think. Sorry about that. I don't even know if you all could hear it. I don't know what the heck that was. I went and looked around, looked out the window. I don't know what that was. It sounded very weird. Maybe it was some kind of weird car passing or something. I don't know. Either way, let's actually start reading. Sorry to keep you waiting through the intro. And actually, I was retying my hair before I hit record again, and like seeing the Endeavor figure, something that I was reminded of while I was tying my hair back. I was like, oh, I'm actually looking pretty okay, like muscle. I was like, oh, that looked kind of cool. But then I was like, it reminded me yesterday, I was doing leg day, and I was just looking at the Endeavor figure on the shelf behind me, and I'm like, can't stop until I have thighs like that. Can't stop. That was the motivation, was the Endeavor figure. But either way, let's start actually reading chapter 407. We have chapter 407, An Exceptional Child. For about a year, the sex worker had been suffering from hardened growths on her left arm. She wasn't even aware of her pregnancy for the first 8 months, and her unstable lifestyle wasn't the only reason for that. She simply couldn't feel what had taken up residence inside her uterus, and had begun sapping away her very life force. Is this going to be All for One's mother, maybe? She gave birth to the twins on a riverbank. Ooh, it might be the original All for One, One for All siblings. She gave birth to the twins on a riverbank before dying on the spot, and for some reason the growths on her arm had completely vanished. The 2 babies were alone in the world. Right around when the rats showed up to gnaw on the newborns in their mother's corpse, the flooding river swept the babies away. 1 year later, News of the glowing baby was the first of many worldwide reports of emerging meta abilities. Oh, so the glowing baby, like I said before, the glowing baby couldn't have been All for One because that was connected to another character. But this is like they were secretly born as the first with quirks even beforehand. These meta abilities didn't only present at birth, they also started to present after the fact in young people going through puberty. Okay, so there were people born with it, they just didn't start it didn't start happening to them yet. One research group looking into the matter hypothesized that a novel disease was to blame. They announced that those with meta abilities were a sub-branch of humanity with new genetic factors. The declaration was reckless and premature. People are social organisms, so the statement divided them and added fuel to the chaos to come. Or, this is probably not what we're supposed to get out of the first part of that backstory. I was going to say, or the babies got washed down the river, and because that led to the drinking water, that spread the disease that gave everybody quirks. So quirks were originally some mother of all STDs. Seemed like those meta freaks started gathering over by the industrial zone. Gotta be the same ones the demonstrators clashed with last night. Better take them out before they can regroup and rise up. Who's there? And then an exceptional child, maybe? Look, I feel bad, but leave him be. Kids are more likely to be carriers. And then, what's that sound? Huh? And then the bone spears pierced through them all. This was the meta ability he'd stolen from his mother. The child was imbued with hubris and a disrespect for others from the moment he was born. He viewed all within his reach as his own possessions. Those who wouldn't turn to look at him when he cried and screamed, those who wouldn't provide him with anything, he viewed with utter distrust. And then we see how he survived. Okay. Stop. Don't hurt. Most of the nutrients provided by their mother were stolen by the older twin, leaving the younger twin small and frail, and he kicks him away. The boy's smaller sibling provided him with nothing in particular. Still, the latter was one of his possessions, and not one he would readily relinquish. Amidst the growing societal divide, that original glowing baby has now grown has taken a stand, and we see Jin Bocho, Jashin-chan dropkick, and is calling for the return to a peaceful, safe society. This leader gains more supporters day by day. You've kept this from me. What are you reading? Well, I'm still learning to read, so big fancy books are too hard, but these comics are just, wow. It's like you read the pictures, and they tell you the hopes and dreams of the people in the drawings. Like this hero. Someday I want to be like him. The younger twin still hadn't completely given up on his older brother. In his faint memories, he recalled that hand, and wanted to believe that his brother's grip had been gentle and kind. 3 years later. Did you hear? Apparently the famous glowing baby reached 10 million supporters. Brother? Weird, right? I mean, why them? Just because they were officially the first one in the record books. 2 weeks ago in India alone, 50 babies were born with meta abilities that glow on you. How they managed to rally so many people to them. Isn't it bizarre? So I killed that leader and stole what was theirs. So he stole the glowing baby's quirks. What? Why? Remember what that comic book said? One for all, and all for one. Words to live by. That hero had to hide his identity and battle on in solitude, while everyone paid tribute to the wicked demon lord out of fear. Just as you were inspired, I now want a world that exists for my sake and mine alone. I found my own dream. Wait, why are you leaving? Just the immediately, wait, why are you leaving? And after I granted you a power of your own? Hey, who are you? Get away from him. That one's mine. Hey, look at me. If you refuse to be mine, then... And he's destroyed. Enough of this. What a great villain backstory. That's such a good villain backstory, and to be like, oh, he was kind of born evil. You can say it's too simplistic, but I feel like that is the point of All for One in My Hero Academia story. My Hero Academia has every single villain have some explanation for their villainy, some reasoning behind it. It might not always be good reasoning, but they didn't have the support they needed in life, they got misled, they took a bad path. We can see how if the circumstances of the villains' lives would have been different, they could have turned out different. But to have All for One as the one manipulating everything behind the scenes fits. He just straight up is a demon lord. He is an evil guy. And sure, their backstory was bad. We see the struggles here, but we also see how his twin brother and so many other metahumans weren't like him. He is just straight up evil. And I like having him as a character because of that. All of the other villains are super nuanced, but you have the one big bad original quote-unquote villain who is just an evil demon lord. I really like his purpose in the story. And it also juxtaposes like the rest of the villains and how they ended up that way. It's just really, really, really great. That was such a good chapter. That was amazing. So yeah, again, starting off with amazing chapters, just like the last couple of read-throughs. Let's go to 408. And now since we're getting into this stuff, I'm kind of hoping we transition since we're learning a little about the second user. I want to know more about the second user. I want to know more about the previous One for All holders and what the sort of eras with All for One, One for All of that. The All for One users. No. One for All users. Sorry, got it backwards. It's so easy to mix the two up. But yeah, I'm excited to get more into that stuff. So let's see what we get. Let's see what we end up with at 408. This one is The Eyes Tell All. He named his brother Yoichi with the kanji characters for bestow and one because his brother was the very first thing given to him in life. And then number 408, The Eyes Tell All. At this point, it had been 2 months since his brother had walked away from him. He locked eyes with the young man who'd stolen away his brother, that precious possession of his. From birth, there'd been no shine to his own eyes, as if they were clouded by thin membranes. The sight of the young man was never reflected in those eyes. Okay. Sorry, I'm just taking all this in. And then we see the hand. The meta ability I thought I had granted him is gone. Oh, so one of those hands is Yoichi's. Because it was all that was left of him, and that explains maybe giving the hands to Tomura. He had foisted a power on Yoichi, despite the latter's insistent refusal to accept that which had been stolen from others, or used to force others into servitude. I've never observed such a thing before. My own power confirms that there is no meta ability left in Yoichi. I used to wonder if I'd somehow stolen his actual powers when I was too young to be aware of it, but further examination showed that he did have one, an insignificant non-functioning bit of trash that my own power couldn't even recognize as a proper factor. So, oh, that's so cool too. I'm just now getting that, because I was like, so if he had bone spears, then, did he have bone spears and All for One? But no, he was born with All for One, but his mother unknowingly also had quirks beforehand. His mother had bone spears, but they just appeared on her as little bumps. But he stole bone spears from her when he was born. And that's how we had 2 quirks right at the start. As if the factor never quite took form when it should have due to malnourishment, did it somehow activate itself? Hey boss, that day when he gave us a thrashing, All for One didn't manage to touch you, right? Give it a rest, Bruce. Just give me the results. Spit it out. You mentioned something about your body feeling off since then, and I'm surprised you even noticed. You've got 2 factors in you. Your original one, plus some kind of unformed dud. Right, I thought that might be the case. The meta ability I granted him was essentially absorbed by his own, to make up for what it lacked, stolen in a sense. I couldn't put a stop to my brother. You kept me alive. He only sees other human beings as playthings or prizes to win. If only you could have found even a bit of compassion for others. I love this split page. It's like Yoichi's within, it's like within me, Yoichi's will still lives on. The ability to both give and take could have been the kindest, most charitable power the world's ever known. And that is another incredible take on All for One's character. Him being the Demon Lord, despite the fact that he could have been the ultimate altruist. And yet, my crocodile tears served to cause confusion and dismay. All that I loathed, and everything I coveted, I had manipulated and corrupted to make it all my own. I only want to make you mine. And we see the death of the second and the death of the third. His army of people. And we know the fourth was just hiding out in the woods until he could pass it on. And then the death of Lariat. So I don't know, I guess sixth was maybe in here somewhere. Or was... So, okay, Lariat's fifth, right. And now we have the death of the sixth. You never behave as I wish. And even with his body torn in half, him passing things on, he passed on his hair to Nana. I hunt and pursue, yet you slip through my grasp, and we have his final loss to All Might. Well, I say final loss, but it didn't turn out so much. You're to blame for it all. Kudo. Kudo's bloodline was ended. Leaving nothing to chance, I eliminated every woman and child he'd been close to. If Kudo's blood somehow runs through the boy's veins, surely I would have sensed it that first time. And we cut back to when they first met. It's all in the eyes. Back then, his eyes didn't have that look to them. Just an incidental resemblance. Yet I'm convinced that a willful resolve resembling Kudo's has crossed time and space to thwart me. Forcibly warping him away won't do much to tear this thorn from my side, because the only viable warp points are All Might and Tomura, who are nearby to start with. I can't afford to drag out this battle, as it would shrink me further. Even when I do reach Tomura, conflict is inevitable, as he's already rejected me once. I must save all my remaining strength to succeed in that transfer. Such was my thinking, but no, enough of this. Killing you, reaching my goal, executing the transfer are all one and the same. Then, here he comes. Omnifactor, unleash. All for one, goal. And we have everything. All of the quirks he's stolen, all of the people, all of the quirk factors in one huge amalgamation. I will pass. A massive energy surge to fuel his propulsion. Does he intend to claim victory with this single burst? This will revert him back to a baby. He's bet the whole shebang on this. Dodge it, kid. And we see the beads of sweat igniting. Some genius I am. How could I ever hope to beat that? Man. What a finale for All for One. And we're still not even done. We still have more. This stuff with All for One has been incredible. Okay, I gotta keep reading. Let's go to 409. We start 409 with Bakugo's birth. And it's 409, Quirk Explosion. I'm gonna make all my skills my own and keep rising. My explosion can pull off anything I want it to. And then Izuku, I won't stand in your way anymore. Dodge it, kid, All Might screaming. Man. We just have this massive burst blowing away the city, blowing All Might back. Please blow up. Blow the hell up. How can this be? The boy didn't take any clear action just now. The rain's putting a damper on my oomph, so I fired off some coated beads. Beads of explosive sweat coated with regular sweat. I shot him off without triggering him, hoping that something else might set him off on a delay. Back there, straight into my mouth. At the last second, if nothing else, I've always earned kudos for my intuition. The one quirk I've got is enough. The more damage he takes, and also having the one with all the quirks being defeated by somebody with only one. The more damage he takes, the younger he regresses. Get the picture? All the damage has thrown my powers into disarray, but I only need to unleash them once more. This is my tale. Move aside, you extra. You nobody. And again, the person who's like Bakugo once was. And then finally he spins into him. Howitzer, impact. Then all of the explosions trigger. Get wrecked. And shut. Oh? He moves in towards his actual head. The hell up. And it looks like he does manage to blow what's left of him into bits. Something's off. My quirk factors aren't mingling properly. How could these mere fireworks be tearing them apart? Because my body's grown too young, too delicate? All those nasty negative emotions have got you in a tailspin, so you're losing control over us. Get it straight. Get it straight. This is... Check it out. This joint is my fan meetup venue now. Swallowed up by Shigaraki, huh? And we have Hawks in there. Our tale. Okay. Little by little, the damage everyone dealt, all that built-up aggravation, at long last. And we have his parents looking on. Ah, man, we see Shoichi. For certain this time. All for one is... Yeah, I never could have hoped to beat that. At least not alone. And again, it's so good because he fought so many people. He fought almost everyone on the way to get here. So it's so cool to have it be the product of everyone working together, but also to have the finale, and not only the product of everyone working together, but to have the big moments for Endeavor and for All Might. And then passing from Endeavor to All Might to now Bakugo getting the final blow in. It's such a great thing for everybody being like, well, how does Bakugo with one quirk rival Izuku with all the ones he has? To have the guy with one quirk get the final blow and the final win. And also to have a big enough challenge, a big enough sort of enemy for the most popular character in the series to have his final fight with. Again, presuming. It's so good. It almost feels though, again, we know there are a few other things we haven't seen. It almost feels like this would have been something that would come after some of that other stuff. But maybe they just, maybe Horikoshi just wanted to pace it out. Okay, have Bakugo's final thing, then have some of this other stuff, we still have to deal with Kurogiri. We know there were still villains around where Tailman Ojiro's area was. Mashirao, I forgot his name last read through. So we know that all that stuff, there's still some stuff ongoing. So maybe you wanted to pace it out where we have the big finale here, because we've done that a couple times so far. We'll have a big finale for a certain conflict, then do some other conflicts, then have the next big finale, then do some other conflicts. So maybe that was the plan, to not immediately directly follow this with Izuku Shigaraki's finale. And again, it also helps keep fans from judging the one that comes afterward too harshly. If you have a crazy good thing and then follow it up and you're maybe not confident if people will like it quite as much, and you do it immediately afterward, people are going to be more judgmental of it. So maybe that's a part of the pacing too. And either way, I do think there's still a chance at some point that everyone meets up, like all the important characters at least that have been fighting this time, all meet up in one place for the actual like finale to take place. But either way, we'll move on to 410. 410 starts with some monologuing. Only a bit further to go, then I'll transfer my quirk to Tomura. My other self was likely swallowed up and suppressed, but I can still empower him to wrest back control of that supremely sinister body and mind. Based on what I've observed of Tomura, the other me must have been taken out of commission before he can employ that last-ditch tactic. Victory is still within reach. Control Tomura, steal one for all. Yoichi, without you it's all for naught. The negatives in life tend to stick in one's memory for so long. This is why I thwart the futures of others. Yoichi, I want everyone's eyes on me forever. A bit further, and he's regressed to a baby. Farewell. We get to see Bakugo smash a baby. Number 410. Farewell. All for one. You still haven't poofed away, huh? And Bakugo is coughing out blood too. So cold. No strength left. Can't keep standing. Move aside, he thinks, but all he can muster is crying. In reality, he can't speak yet. He can't even talk anymore. He's on the verge of birth, which means death. That should be good enough. He'll fade away even without my help. And then we have him talking to Kirishima. Just being able to keep standing through anything makes you crazy strong. And he catches himself. That was close. Nah, nothing less than absolute victory for me. Stay back! And he fires a bone spear straight to his head. But Bakugo catches it in his teeth. Nighty-night, all for one. He breaks it off with his explosions. I'll let my emotions get the better of me. That's not like me. And of course, because he made him use his quirk again, even as a baby. No. Hate. And he starts regressing even further. All the quirk factors in him start vanishing. The stolen quirk factors returning to their former owners. Oh, so the quirks actually return if the owners are still alive. Oh, nope, never mind. Would be a nice bonus for them, but that's not how it works. Never mind. And he goes into an early fetus and then just a fertilized cell and completely vanishes. Ah, damn it. I really wanted to pull off All Might's standing victory pose. Izuku, give him hell. And he poses while laying on the ground. A few days before the operation, Shigaraki's bound to strike at the UA campus. Should we allow him to touch down on the ground, we'll find ourselves quite distressed. Distressed? Always with the genes lingo. Because once he's on the ground, we'll be at a huge disadvantage, just like back in Jakku. And this was the originally planned team that was supposed to be there. I've heard the stories. No, I speak of being united in purpose, in regards to what we seek to protect. We're evacuating the whole area, so do you mean we gotta guard some buildings? Sorry. Okay, I was just looking at Sun Eater. We assume the architecture itself will not survive, as our hands will be full enough already. Or rather, we set aside such concerns the moment we decided to assign Dabi's battle to Kamino Ward. We act in the hope of saving lives and ensuring a future for all. Yap, get to the heart of the matter. The issue is Shigaraki's personality, which is in a state of flux. We would prefer the all-for-one persona, actually, because the domination he seeks requires living subjects to dominate. But if Shigaraki's in the driver's seat, he ain't gonna be so merciful. With such strength and hatred that's true. Because he seeks to dominate living subjects, so he's not going to want to destroy everything. But if Shigaraki's personality is in control, he just wants to destroy the earth, basically. With such strength and hatred brewing within him, his desire for destruction may direct itself towards the very earth. In a world where we emerge victorious, and even if we've stood our ground and risen back up from dire straits, it will all be for nothing without a foundation to stand on. No, what we must protect is... And we see the evacuation shelter. No, Our home. We farmed that land since my granddad's time. Izuku. I'm not directing my decay over the surface, but rather down, nice and deep. A hefty chunk of Shizuoka Prefecture will be gone in the blink of an eye. It'll take out 378,000 square kilometers of the country itself. Give me a week, and there will be nothing left but sea and sky, snuffing out any hope of restoration. That's what it means to destroy everything. By running the second's gear shift and third's Fajin and the fourth's danger sense in parallel, I can really go on the offensive, unlike earlier. But I still need a clue about how to stop him, for real, and I need it quick. My master's dead, and all 'cause I didn't break that kid hard enough. That's on me, but I'm actually kind of grateful to the guy. He made me stronger, strong enough to adapt to this one's speed. And he makes it to Izuku's face, but he pulls back, and the fingers themselves are destroyed. You slashed off my fingers just in time to avoid a touching moment there. But face facts. Kiddo, and Lariat calls to him. The fourth, Shinomori's been... And Danger Sense too? How long can you keep this up? Oh. Did he strip away? Is he using All for One now to strip instead of destroying Izuku, to strip the quirks away? If so, if he took Danger Sense, then that's really bad for Izuku. Okay, I'm actually going to call it here. I'm going to end it here because this seems like a pretty good... These chapters were a little longer, and it feels kind of like a good place to end when... Yeah, I'm just going to end it here for now. When we ended the All for One stuff, and then next week we can do some of whatever's next. And then again, it'll be another week before we catch up. But now that we're so close, I don't think we should rush. I think we should take our time a little bit. I kind of want to be caught up when we hit the end, but at the same time, I don't want to rush too much and then be stuck waiting a week for like a 7-page chapter. That might be kind of rough. So I'm going to end it here for now. Thank you for watching. Like if you did like the video, comment down there. Tell me what you thought of this week's chapters, my thoughts and reaction to them. Subscribe for more Hero Academia and much more on the channel. If you want to, go back and watch all the way from Chapter 1 if you're new. Subscribe. Follow on Twitter if you want. A link to the Discord server. It's free and open for anyone. If you want to help support the channel, you could drop a super thanks. But if you also, in addition to wanting to support to help me to continue to make videos, if you want One Piece videos early, if you want a shout out at the end of every video, then hit join down below to become a member. Go to patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or link will be in the description to become a patron. Thank you to people who are already patrons and members. Thank you to Chosen Regular Evan Holly, Magical Girls, FR Nono and Abyss Knight, Cheriton Students, David Langstaff and Folded Ghoul, Slayer Candidates, SG and Stan Eater, and Pure Element Patiardial. Thank you all so much for your support. It's crazy how I was saying for a while that this final arc felt kind of anticlimactic, and it did for a little while, but wow, these past couple instances, it's just gotten so good. Like, this has been a very good finale, I think. And I thought maybe the series should have gone on longer. Maybe they should have been a bit older. But now that we're here, I'm like, nah, this has been good. So huge thank you to all of you for your support. Huge thank you to all of you for watching. And I'll see you all next time.